Hi everyone, I hope you're good guys and welcome for a new video. So today I'm gonna talk to you about my Dark Progressive Techno Ableton template. This track has been made during my live stream session, so you can see the whole process of the track from start to the end. I will put the link in the description of the live stream. And today I'm gonna focus more on each element of the track, why I have this element and what are their purpose. And next week I will focus more on the arrangement, the automation, mixing and mastering. So let's have a listen to the track quickly. Alright, so let's dig into it. So first we're gonna start with the kick. So the funny thing is during my live stream, so you can hear it's like kind of 808 punchy kick. And during my live stream I was more to have something more like a round 808 with low frequency and kind of subby 808, you know, this fat heavy 808, more like a deep melodic techno kind of afterlife kick. And then I changed my mind and I've been for something a bit more punchy and short. So that's why if you check here, I have two kicks. It's just the second. It's both are the same kick. It's just I automate there in the arrangement because I wanted to have one part a little bit stronger. But you can see it's like that was how it was originally, and I just kind of sharpened because I wanted really, something like short, punchy. And so here's the same. Just get the beginning, and this is just a click to add on top. So you can see here I use my King Punch rack just to add this little extra. That's really help you kick to cut through the mix. And a bit of EQ is just you don't like this frequency and just boost a bit there. And so then I add different kind of treatment. So basically here was like more like a kind of a round kick, especially this air bass is just like, you can see how make you kick a little bit more round, and Shine EQ was just like to boost a little bit in the mid and high. And then the drum bass really gives like this extra kick punch. Especially the drive in the hard mode, the hard clipping distortion bring some low frequency as well. And then you have a bit of compression, just put a little bit of crunch, but very gentle. And then the trident here, again to really accentuate this very kind of short kick, punchy and short kick. No, I didn't want it a long 808 kind of kick, subby and stuff like that. Another thing which help a lot, so I have this EQ, just get rid of these two frequencies I didn't like, and obviously having a low cut until it's going until 45, so it's quite a lot. I almost never cut that much, but here I really didn't want it a subby kick like I said, and that was a good way to get more like short, sharp and punchy kick. Alright, let's jump into the hats. So I've got a basic MIDI pattern, 16 closer hat and open hats of beat. Nothing fancy here, it's just sample that I've used. It's just like saturation to make things a bit louder, add harmonics, EQ to get rid of the frequency I don't like. Same goes here. So here I had my character rack. It just was just I wanted a hat a bit more kind of warm and more noisy, crispier. So the warm is a saturator, and the enter is a overdrive here. It's just to add this nice top end, a bit of punch to make it like a bit more transient, cutting a bit more through the mix. This is like a compression. I will put the link of the rack in the description if you want to know exactly what macro is doing. And here the thing what I've done, you can see that I have got return, so where I usually send my drum into a reverb, like this I space them in the mix. And then here I have, I'm sending the open hat as well in this delay hat. Basically I wanted my open hats to be a bit more stereo, but you can use the hats effect, but the thing is usually with the hats effects you lose the signal in the middle. So basically from your mono open hat in the center, you bring it to the side. But I still wanted to keep the open hat in the middle, and a good way to add a bit of stereo is basically by adding a bit of kind of delay. And like this I still have my hat in the middle, and I still got this stereo effect of the hats. And you're gonna see if I mute. And it had a bit of groove as well, obviously. And then I have the GK, which is automatic along the track. I will talk about that next week in the next video. Then I have some shaker. So if you're familiar with my video, you know what I'm doing usually. You see, it's good to have this up and down velocities help like giving this driving effect. Having the strongest shaker with the strongest velocity of beat, because basically you have your kick here and here. All right, and then for the sound itself, it's just I've layered. It's two hats that I bring the fade in, which is kind of the attack. At 20 milliseconds, like this, I get this kind of aspiration effect, and I don't have like a very percussive hat like this one. See, you got a strong attack on this one, and on this one, by putting 20 milliseconds, you get more like a aspiration kind of effect. And then you just overdrive to have a bit of top end. I filter everything, and here the shaker, I wanted to put them on the stereo, to have them on the side and not in the middle, because in the middle I already got the close hat and the open hat. With this delay that I put in time mode, this way it's a has effect. If you want to find out more about, I get this nice shaker effect. Then let's jump into the snare. So the snare is a layer snare. So I don't always layer, but this time I had something very special in mind. I wanted something very percussive and noisy in the same time, and a bit organic. And so the best way to do that is to layer. So you can see here is missing one. Honestly, it was kind of a mistake. It was not done in purpose, but I actually left it like this because kind of I don't know, it's kind of adding a slight variation, so it was not a big deal, so I left it. And then in terms of how I treat it, I use my fat clap just to add a bit of distortion. A bit of color. Punch again. Right is a corpus to add a bit of frequency on the mid-high. Then does the EQ to really shape the sound. Get rid of all this low med was no good for this case. A bit of reverb, not too long GK, dry wet 30%. And yeah, so you can wondering why I have this limiter here and why I just don't get rid of the limiter and bring the volume down. I could have done that. The thing is, by default I always kind of put a limiter in case of my sounds go crazy, and in this case it went a bit crazier with how I process. But the thing is, I try to remove the limiter and kind of bring the volume up, but it was kind of sounding slightly different, so I kind of left it. It kind of, you can see it's gonna completely crash a little bit the transient, but I like it the way it sounds, so I just left it. And here, so here the thing is, you can hear there is this kind of slapping effect with the snare, and the way I've done that, so there is two different possibilities. You can either grab your MIDI and you see like bring it a little bit before the kick, or you can just, you have this track delay, and you can just like basically I put the track delay in the way that the clap is hitting just a little bit before the kick, and that's what gives this kind of slapping effect. So this is without. You still got it, but if I bring, you got this nice kind of slapping effect. I don't know how to call it, but I think you know what I mean. And it's more like kind of a house kind of vibe a little bit, if I can say so. Then here I have reverse snare. So that's again something very common in house music. Basically what you're doing, you just like duplicate and freeze and flatten your snare, and then the audio signal you just reverse it. And once you reverse it, you have to put it like just right before your snare. You see, I'm gonna show you. If I reverse this, you see that was the snare, but like this is reversed. And here's the same. You see, I use the track delay to really like find the sweet spot, and then you get this. It's even accentuating this slapping effect, and then even with the HT7. All right, then we have this snare roll effect. So here I use my rack as well. So here, two purposes. First, mainly for the break, to kind of have this classic snare roll effect. I will put the link in the description if you want to find out more about this rack. It's just like a rack allowing me to get this kind of snare roll effect. The process is not that much. It's like saturation, EQ, reverb, you know, like usually saturation to add harmonics, EQ to remove the frequency I don't need and boost the one I want to put in the front. Reverb, not too long decay, but long enough to have this nice noisy, and a bit of drum bass. And so yeah, bringing tension during the build up. And I use it as well, like more like as a field drum, like usually before a new bar, I always put this kind of. It's always nice. It's always nice. It helps the transition and it make your sound more, your track more detailed. And yeah, then we have tom perc. So this is, on the end I put it, that's just a like kind of 808 tom. I just had a bit of delay, like ping pong delay, and a bit of reverb. Basically was, what I realized is like, if I leave it during the track, especially when the bass is coming, it's just like, it doesn't really add nothing. It's just like kind of messing everything more than really helping the track. But at the intro, when there is no bass, or even when the kick is like kind of, there is a high pass on the kick at the intro. And it's helping to have straight away a bit of groove. And then I get rid of it because then you have the bass playing, and when there is all together, it's kind of, oops, sorry. When there is all together, you're gonna see it's kind of messy. I don't like, and it's, so that's why I just keep it for the intro and the outro, like basically. and that's it. It's like just playing this part, but it do the job. Alright, then I have the bass. So for the bass, it's a kind of classic rolling 16 bass line, kind of moogie kind of sound, you know, with the sawtooth that you're gonna use a low pass, and then use an envelope on the filter to kind of open the filter. So you can see here I play the same note at 2 octaves just to have the sub and the high note. And so here a couple of things interesting. The delay and the boom bass really give character. So that's the one. And then so the boom bass is mainly the drive we give. And this harmonic and fat is just like to really make it like sound fatter. And then the delay, I use it, you're gonna see how it changed the tone of the sound. You see, it's almost like, obviously you get this delay effect a little bit, but I use it more like in the way like it's changed the tone of the bass and create an interesting tone, different than the just basic moogie. A bit of reverb, just, you know, kind of, because this kind of bass line you have a mid-high frequency kind of, and it's nice always to have a bit of reverb, because otherwise it sounds too dry and it just fit better the mix. And then just utility to make the bass under 120, everything mono, a bit of saturation just for loudness purpose. Channel EQ. So you're gonna see this one a lot during this track. I was experimenting a lot with this device. It's like not a new device, but it hasn't been there for a long time. I haven't used it much more, a lot, so I wanted to use it a bit more in this track. So it's kind of based like on the mixer EQ that you find on the vintage analog mixer, with just like 3 bands. And here I use it to boost the bass. And then you got some sidechain compression. So here what's triggered the sidechain is this SC track, which is sidechain. It's basically a 909 clap. So like this, I just got like a transient sound, a sound like very sharp and very fast and very short, to kind of trigger my bass. And then EQ, so I get rid a lot of not a lot, but a lot of the subby frequency. Again, here I didn't want it like a very subby track. I wanted something like I don't know how to say it, like dry and punchy, if I can say so. So that's what my idea, and that's why I cut like this. I usually don't cut like this, but yeah, for this purpose was interesting. So then you have the drone. So that's kind of a drone synth. I use my Super Saw lead rack, and the only thing I did a bit of modulation. You see I open the filter here and there. Is kind of helping adding a bit of variation. Obviously in the middle of the track you don't really hear it, but it's really nice, especially on the intro. You can hear like and it's kind of adding a bit of variation, yes. So if you want to find out more about this rack, I will put the link in the description. It's basically kind of a super sawtooth kind of waveform, and I add some unison and everything is filtered, and yeah, with a bit of glide and super saw detune kind of sound, very famous. But obviously when you low pass it, you get this nice drone. So this drone is always in the background. It's always like to maintain this tension along the track. You're gonna see this pad here has the same function. I will come back later. And again, it's really helping in the intro, especially when you don't have that much. But even it's kind of helping as well glue everything together. Alright, then we have the Synth Pluck. So here you can see there is automation going on, and again I use the same rack except that I use it in a different way. So here it was more like a sustain kind of sound, and here is more like a staccato kind of sound. So very plucky, very percussive. And here obviously the key is how I modulate the filter, and that's give the rhythm actually. That's what gives the obviously the MIDI pattern too, but if I just put the filter like this, you can see it's not really like pretty boring, but then straight away when you play with the filter, it's much better. And I automate as well the decay just to have an extra variation, especially like when you see that when the filter is opening, it's nice to open the decay because you get this kind of effect. So yeah, here I'll keep the basic presets and I just like sharpen the decay, you see, to have this plucky vibes and more staccato kind of effect. And then this is a corpus effect that I renamed Brack. It's one of my presets. I just use it like a very little bit, very in a very subtle way, just to add. It usually works well with key instrument. You know, this corpus is kind of resonating, vibrating kind of effect, and it works well with key. I mean, it works well with bass as well, but I use it as well with key sometimes when I need this extra brightness that's the saturator like struggle to bring me. I use the corpus. Just EQ again, cut frequency I don't need, boost the one I want to put in the front, and then this is just like for arrangement purpose. I will come back to this later, sidechain, and yeah. Alright, Synth Lead, and you're gonna see, again I use the same rack, but you can see that obviously it's completely different. So basically that's something I like to do, is like kind of recycling the element I already got in the track. Like for example the synth, I'm gonna duplicate the track and trying to go inside, modify to have a bass that which was similar to a sound I previously used in my track. And so here I've done, if you compare, I've gone a couple of things compared to the original. First, I think I removed the glide. You can see here you got minus, yeah, here you can see instead of having the second oscillator 12 semitone down, I put it 7 semitone upper. You can see as well the modulation is different. So in this one, I've got the amplitude, which is controlling the filter, which is kind of plucky stuff, rather than here. The amplitude first is different. It's more like with a more sustain, and then the envelope modulating the filter, you can see it's different. And here is like the attack. You can see the way, the form of the wave, the shape, sorry, of the attack is kind of round that way, rather than usually it's more like this. And that's what's gonna give this kind of brassy. You see, it's kind of different. That's what really characterizes the sound. Otherwise, it's like the similar to the other. But yeah, you see, like just changing a little bit of parameter, and you get a sound which is kind of sounding different, but still fits well with the rest of the track. And then bright key send, and before is just to. Here I put a little bit more white signals because this is the main lead, so I really want it to be like in your face. And even here with the saturator. Yes, another thing I've done here in the what I modify here in the rack is the drive or the hard curve is a bit more present than the other one, and I probably changed the delay and reverb as well because rather than this one. Let me check. No, actually, maybe no, but yeah, the hard drive for sure. Yes, you see here is 220, and in this one is a bit stronger because I really wanted like something powerful and in your face, because obviously it's the main lead. And the thing is, it's like just playing a couple of notes here and there. So speaking of the notes, you've got basically it's like playing 8 semitone upper, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then you just go down one semitone, and then you got the second part where it's playing exactly the same but 1 or 2 octave upper, and then for the second one it's a twist, a little twist, just different. It was just working like this, and we have our main lead. So next one, let's jump into the Synth Horn. So you know I like to use this kind of synth. So here I use my Joyoser lead horn rack. I will put the link in the description as well if you want to find out more. I made a little trick as well here. So basically here the interesting thing is like how the filter is opening slowly, and that is obviously because of the envelope 3. You see it's like 4 seconds. And you can see the filter opening very slowly, and so that's how you get this kind of sound. And then it's just like usual process, saturation, delay, reverb. I'm not gonna come back. If you wanna find out more about this rack and watch each element does, I will put the link in the description. And yeah, this synth is basically, so you can see in this track I've made a kind of answer questions, like the synth are responding to each other, and that's what it does here. Yeah, that's how it works. That's why the color code here is like this. All these 3 elements is like kind of the main lead, which are responding to each other. So yeah, finally the last one is Synth Brass. So again, I use one of my rack, but again I've done a little twist. Usually this is a kind of a plucky Synth Brass, and here again I drop it and I bring the sustain up like this. I could like play a sustained note and not like a plucky sound like it was usually designed for. And then a bit of overdrive to, you see you have this sawtooth, and the overdrive is really nice to use the overdrive when you have a sawtooth synth preset, because it's really bring up the crispiness of the sawtooth, you know, this high top crispiness of the sawtooth. Like the overdrive is top for that. And then has effect with stereo. This is kind of classic kind of brass that you have usually at the beginning of each bar, and here as well is helping to respond to the synth, the main lead. Alright, then you have key 1. So about this one, so that's basically this one I didn't create it during the live stream, I created after all because I wanted something in the intro, because the intro is pretty long, and to keep the listener busy, to don't make it bored, and I create this little, it's kind of basic moogie melodic techno sound. It's kind of sawtooth, you see like the sawtooth is like almost like a square puff, and I add a bit of FM, but it's very slight. And yeah, the thing is here is like a low pass filter, 24 dB, kind of Moog Prodigy filter, and the filter is modulated by the envelope, and here again having like around 120 give this. Here you got a plucky, which can be useful as well, but I wanted more something like subtle, soft. And yeah, when you got that, again it's like saturator to make it louder. And here obviously the reverb helps a lot. So here is always nice to have a long GK, because it's not like the main lead, you know, it's like something which is playing here and there, you know. You can see it's like usually playing just before a new bar, and so it can be deep in a lot of reverb, it's not a problem. It's kind of a SFX kind of key, or if you know SFX, but like it's helping the transition. And you see here again, this one is, they are kind of responding to each other with the Synth Brass. Like this one is saying like a new bar is starting, and this kind of sound is more like to to warn you that something is coming, you know. It's like when you hear that, you know that it's the end of the bar and something's gonna come. And when you have the Synth Brass, okay, it's like new bar starting, new things are coming. That's kind of vibes. So yeah, that's for the key. I've done some pan automation as well, but I will talk about this next week. Then we have this pad. So basically, this is kind of very similar to what I've done in the previous melodic template. Here is having this kind of detune weird sound to have in the background to bring tension. So to have this kind of weird feeling, the good thing is always to play like 2 notes close to each other. You can see this is just like the same note playing an octave upper, and then you have these 2 notes. So this is the fifth, I think. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, this is the fifth, and you just play 1 note just upper than the fifth, and that's mainly what gets you this detune sound. Other things. So the patch, I'm not gonna spend too much time on it. I'm just gonna tell you what really makes things weird is first to having the oscillator detune. So here you can see it's minus 50, and here is plus 50. So that's detune FX is kind of you see it's helping the detune, the unison obviously. You see if I remove all of the detune and unison, it's kind of normal sound, but that's otherwise it's a basic sawtooth waveform. The patch is pretty simple. You can see I don't even have modulation on the filter. It's just like a slow attack because it's a power sound, so I want it to be introduced very slowly at the beginning. And the filter is kind of fully open all the time. And then after it's just delay and reverb. So again, that's to put the sound in the background because I don't want in the front. It's like, again, in the background, giving this weird tension feeling. So it's always good if you want to put a sound in the background to don't be gentle with the dry wet, to put like the wet around 50% either for the echo and for the reverb. A long decay for your reverb as well, it's helping. Then this is like EQ, but it's more like for the arrangement part to introduce the part slowly. And then the second patch, which is inside the instrument rack, is basically exactly the same. I'll just change the waveform to get kind of different kind of tone, and I transport it to octave upper. So like this you can get more like in the high. And here again I detune both oscillator, 7 semitone upper as well, classic unison mode. The envelope is the same, and I use the chord as well. This is kind of duplicating an octave or upper the sound. So again, this is in the background. Oh, and that's very dry. So you can see with the drone, they kind of I don't know if I can say this expression, like put the frame, you know, of your track. It's kind of put the base of your track, and it's kind of there without being there. It's like in the background. It's not really important, but if you remove it, it's kind of feeling it's missing something. So yeah, that's the purpose of this pad and a drone synth. And one is more like in the low bass, obviously, and one is more like in the top high. And then you've got the Synth Fx. So one is this one. Let me show you. This I already kind of use this kind of sound. So if you're familiar with my video, you know how I've done this. The thing is, I use again the same rack, but I twist it again. You can see it sounding completely different than the other. Here the thing is applying an envelope on the filter. So basically you can see like the filter is gonna move up and down. I mean, here is different because it's a high pass filter. So basically what your filter is gonna do is start high, it go down, and then it go back up. And that's how you get this kind of nice motion. And obviously I have band modulation going on from right, left, right. And playing a very low note. As you can see, you get this, because it's a sawtooth, you get this nice granular texture. I already talked about this synth in my previous video. It's always helping, it's always nice. Adding movement like to your track. So here is just playing during the second chorus. Kind of again responding as well to the other synth. You can up. then the other one is playing. Alright, then we have this Synth Fx. So this one, again, you can see it's pretty similar than this Synth Horn sound. Basically, this one is I use a pulse dual. It's kind of, yeah, with a low pass filter, and the filter is again with a slow attack on the envelope 3, which is modulating the filter, and you get this slowly opening the. So again, it's adding a nice movement, and you have it's deep again in a lot of reverb, and it's kind of not too much high frequency, so it's like very low frequency, so it's kind of to put it in the background, and it's a kind of SFX to add variation to your track, to fill up your track a little bit. And it's just there, you know, it's yeah, add a bit of variation and texture to your sound, to your track, sorry. And you can see I use as well the envelope 2 to modulate the position and the unison. Alright, and then we have Synth Fx 3. So here again I use my rag, but I use a little bit of, I twist it a little bit. Here I'm playing with the LFO rate. So basically the LFO is modulating the filter, and obviously it's evolving as the synth and the notes go. So you start with a very fast rate and you slowly go there to a slower rate. So you can see. Wop, 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 wop. So that's what gives this nice. So again, if you want to find out more about this hack, how I made it, I will put the link in the description and you can find out more. But yeah, basically it's kind of classic Moogie buzzing sound. And then we have this Perc Fx. So I wanted to add a bit of dark percussion. I don't want it to overdo it, so I just add one. And again, this is kind of stuff in the background just to add a bit of a dark mood to the track. You see? It's here without being there, but for example, on this drop, he does it. It's doing the job really well. You see, it's like responding to the synth again, and you see it's playing just before the kick, so it's got this nice groovy effect. Again, it's not playing along the whole track, just mainly at the intro and a bit at the outro, obviously. But yeah, and then we have SFX. So basically, it's called FX Snare and FX Hats because if you're familiar with my video, and you know that I like to use my drum sound to make the SFX. Basically, it's very simple. You take your snare, for example, to just have one, and you add a lot of reverb. I have a rack especially for that. I will put the link in the description, and you can dip in a lot of reverb. And then you can freeze and flatten, and then you get this kind of very noisy FX. And then you can just reverse it, and then when you put them together, it's doing this kind of SFX. So then after you have to cut it properly. I've made a video about it. We'll put the link in the description if you want to check. And so usually I like to take the snare because it's got a darker vibe. Usually the snare or the clap, because the percussion of a snare or clap got more like, how I can say it, like texture than a hat. And it gives these dark vibes rather than the hat is like very nice for this kind of noisy, fierce. So this I could have used the operator and automate, and like I've got a rack as well for that, but here I've just stayed simple. I don't like usually to overdo the SFX. They are not playing super loud. It's just like ready to help the transition. Again, they are here without being ready here, but again, if I remove them, it's feel weird. The transitions are more brutal. Yeah, I think I show you all the elements. It's already long time for a long video. I hope I didn't forget anything. I hope you like it, guys. If you're interested by the template, the link in the description. You can go on my website and grab it. If you want to know more about the arrangement, all the automation, about the mixing and the mastering, all this stuff, I will talk about it next week. So don't forget to like and subscribe, and see you soon, guys. Bye bye. Thank you for watching.